In a kingdom where the trees sparkled with tiny golden lights and flowers, whispered secrets when the wind passed through, there lived a curious young girl named Leora. She was known throughout her village not just for her bright, inquisitive eyes, but for the little sketchbook she always carried under her arm. Every day she wandered through the colorful meadows, drawing the tiny creatures and shimmering butterflies she found along the way. The villagers often watched her from afar, whispering about her adventurous spirit, and some even worried that her curiosity might one day lead her into trouble. But Leora never feared the unknown. Instead, she felt that every corner of the world had a story waiting to be discovered. One sunny morning, as the dew still clung to the petals of the flowers and the morning mist swirled like gentle ribbons, Leora set off on a path she had never explored before. The path led deep into the enchanted forest, where trees bent in strange, graceful shapes and streams sparkled with an almost magical glow. Birds with feathers that shimmered in every color of the rainbow chirped playful tunes, while tiny fairies danced around Leora, leaving trails of glimmering dust in their wake. It was a place of wonder, and the air smelled sweet with honey and wildflowers. As Leora wandered further, she came upon a hill shrouded in soft silvery mist. At the very top of the hill, peeking through the mist like a secret waiting to be discovered, was a castle unlike any she had ever seen. Its walls glistened as if made of crystal, and little towers twisted playfully toward the sky. Ivy with sparkling leaves curled around the windows, and a warm, golden light seemed to glow from within. Leora felt a shiver of excitement. She had heard whispers in her village about a mysterious creature who lived there. A being no one had seen up close, often called the Beast. Most villagers avoided the hill, spreading stories of a terrifying monster. But Leora's heart pulsed with curiosity and kindness instead of fear, climbing the hill carefully. She noticed that the path was lined with flowers that seemed almost to bow toward her as she passed, as if welcoming her. She reached the castle doors and hesitated, feeling a mixture of nerves and excitement. Taking a deep breath, she knocked. To her surprise, the door creaked open on its own, revealing a grand hall that glittered with magic. Candles floated in mid-air, lighting the room with a warm, gentle glow. The walls were decorated with paintings that seemed to move softly, showing scenes of laughter, friendship, and gentle adventures from long ago. Leora's eyes widened. She had entered a place of wonder. Suddenly, from a shadowy corner, a low growl rumbled, not menacing, but cautious. Leora turned slowly, and there he was, Beastin. He was much larger than she had imagined, with soft, shaggy fur and wide, soulful eyes that glimmered with a hint of sadness. His large paws shook slightly as he stepped closer, unsure whether she meant harm. But Leora, sensing his unease, smiled gently and took a small step forward. "Hello," she said softly. "My name is Leora. I just wanted to meet you." Beastin tilted his head, his ears twitching. He had spent many lonely years in this castle, hidden from the world, and no one had ever approached him without fear. Leora's kindness felt strange and comforting, like a warm light in the middle of a shadowy forest. Slowly, he lowered his large head, sniffing her hand cautiously. Leora laughed softly, a sound like tinkling bells. Just then, a small, sleek cat with fur as black as midnight appeared, leaping gracefully from a table. "I see you found our guest," the cat said in a surprisingly clear voice. Leora blinked in astonishment. You talk?" she asked. The cat flicked his tail, eyes twinkling with mischief. "Of course I talk. Name's Mr. Whiskers. Consider me your guide. And yes, he is a bit intimidating at first, but he's mostly harmless." Beaston's large eyes widened, as if embarrassed that someone had called him intimidating. Leora giggled, kneeling slightly to meet his gaze. "I'm not afraid," she whispered. "I just want to be your friend." Over the next few hours, Leora explored the castle under Mr. Whisker's witty guidance. She discovered rooms filled with floating books, bubbling potions that glimmered in every color, and tiny furniture that moved as if it had a life of its own. Beaston followed her shyly, often tripping over his own large paws, which made Leora laugh and eased his nervousness. She drew sketches of the magical rooms, the moving furniture, and even of Beeston himself, capturing the gentle, misunderstood side of him that no one else had ever seen. As evening fell, the castle glowed like a lantern in the mist. The fairies swirled around the room, sprinkling golden dust that made the air shimmer. Beeston and Leora sat together by a window that overlooked the twinkling forest. The creature's large, expressive eyes reflected the soft glow of the candlelight. Leora reached out her hand. "You're not so scary, you know," she said warmly. "You're actually kind." Beeston lowered his head slowly, almost shyly, and allowed her hand to brush his fur. For the first time in many years he felt a flicker of hope, a feeling that someone could see him for who he truly was. Not just the creature the villagers imagined. Mr. Whiskers jumped onto the windowsill, nudging them playfully. "See, I told you. Sometimes all it takes is a little kindness and courage to change a heart." The magical forest outside the window seemed to sigh happily, as if agreeing with the tiny cat's words. Leora realized that she had learned something as well. Courage didn't always mean fighting monsters or facing danger. Sometimes it meant stepping forward with a kind heart, even when the world made you afraid. Before she left the castle that night, Leora promised Beeston she would return. She waved to him through the castle doors, feeling her heart flutter with excitement for the next adventure. Beeston, for his part, watched her go with a soft smile, realizing that friendship and trust could bloom in the most unexpected places. As she walked down the hill under the soft glow of the moon, Leora looked back at the castle and saw the windows twinkling like stars. The wind carried the faint laughter of fairies, and the trees seemed to sway gently in approval. She knew that this was only the beginning of a magical journey, one where love, courage, and kindness would teach lessons not just to Beeston, but to her as well. From that day forward, the villagers noticed a change in the forest. Leora's sketches, filled with magical creatures and glowing trees, brought a sense of wonder to everyone who saw them. And somewhere in the heart of the castle, Beeston's eyes shone brighter, filled with the warmth of a friendship that had begun with a simple act of courage and a gentle smile. Even the tiniest moments carried magic, the way a flower bent to touch Leora's hand, or how a candle flickered like it was laughing along with them. Every day held a new adventure, a new story to be told, and a new opportunity to show that true beauty always came from within. By the time the stars filled the night sky, Leora had learned that magic was not just in sparkling forests or flying fairies, but in hearts brave enough to be kind, eyes willing to see beyond appearances, and hands ready to offer friendship without fear. And in the heart of the castle, Beeston had learned that even someone as gentle as a teenage girl could teach a beast about love, courage, and hope. It was a beginning full of laughter, tiny magical surprises, and a promise that no matter how misunderstood someone might be, friendship and kindness could light up even the darkest corners of a castle and a heart. The morning sun poured gentle golden light through the twisting towers of the castle, scattering sparkles across the floating books and softly glowing potions. Leora stepped inside, her sketchbook clutched under her arm, and was immediately greeted by the familiar twinkle of fairy glimmers, who swirled around her in tiny bursts of gold and silver dust. "Welcome back," they chimed in soft, musical voices. Leora laughed, reaching out to catch one, only for it to slip through her fingers with a mischievous giggle. Beeston was waiting in the grand hall, his shaggy fur slightly tousled from sleep. His large eyes brightened the moment he saw Leora. "Good morning," he rumbled softly, careful not to scare her. Leora smiled warmly and stepped closer. She could feel how much he had changed since their first meeting. His nervousness had softened into curiosity, his shyness into gentle openness. "Ready for another adventure?" Leora asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Beeston nodded, a slow smile curling across his muzzle. Mr. Whiskers, perched on a floating shelf, flicked his tail with amusement. "Adventure? Or mischief? Depends on how you define it," he said, his voice playful yet wise. They began their day with a stroll through the castle garden, a magical place where flowers glimmered in colors that didn't exist anywhere else in the world. and tiny streams sang soft, bubbly tunes as they wandered over rainbow-colored stones. Beeston's large paws clumsily brushed past delicate blooms, and each time Leora reached out to steady him, her laughter ringing through the garden. Even the fairies seemed to join in, twirling around him in a soft spiral, sprinkling glimmers like confetti. I never realized the garden could be so alive, Beeston said, awe creeping into his deep voice. Leora knelt beside a patch of glowing blue tulips. Everything here responds to feelings, she explained gently. Kindness makes the flowers bloom brighter, and laughter, well, it makes them dance. She plucked one and tucked it behind Beeston's ear, which made him blink in surprise before his lips curved into a shy grin. Their morning was filled with tiny, magical lessons. Leora showed Beeston how to draw the colors in the sky and the patterns in the clouds. Beeston, despite his clumsy paws, tried to mimic her sketches, often smudging the colors, but Leora only laughed, helping him see the beauty in mistakes. Even mistakes can be magical, she said. Beeston's heart swelled with warmth. For the first time, he understood that being different wasn't something to hide, but something to embrace. As midday approached, a soft breeze swept through the garden, carrying a whisper of trouble. Tiny sparks of mischief danced along the wind, and the flowers began to sway anxiously. Leora's eyes widened. "It's the playful storm?" she said. Beeston tilted his head, unsure. Mr. Whiskers leaped from the trellis, brushing past them. "Don't worry. It's not dangerous, just a little unpredictable magic," he said, eyes glinting with excitement. "You'll see, it loves a good challenge." The storm arrived in gentle waves of shimmering wind, carrying floating leaves that twirled like dancers. Beeston hesitated, his large frame trembling slightly. Leora reached for his paw. "We can do this together," she said with calm determination. Beeston took a deep breath, and for the first time, he felt the power of friendship helping him face uncertainty. Together, they moved through the swirling wind, guiding each other carefully. Laughter bubbling up despite the chaos. The flowers in the garden twirled in time with their steps, sparkling like tiny stars. Fairy glimmers darted around them, cheering them on. Beeston's clumsy steps became more confident as he learned to trust not just himself, but Leora's guidance and encouragement. Finally, the playful storm subsided, leaving the garden glowing in calm, magical light. Leora and Beeston sat on the edge of a sparkling fountain, catching their breath. "See?" Leora said softly. "Courage isn't about being fearless. It's about taking the first step, even when you're afraid." Beeston's large eyes glistened. He had felt fear every day of his lonely life, but now he understood that bravery could bloom with friendship. The villagers, who had always avoided the castle, had begun to notice changes too. They would peek from the edges of the forest, curious about the gentle creature and the kind girl who seemed unafraid. One by one, they stepped closer, drawn by the laughter, the sparkling lights, and the sense of warmth radiating from the castle. Some were hesitant, but Leora waved to them with a gentle smile. "Don't be afraid," she called. "He's a friend." Beeston felt a mixture of nervousness and hope. This was a new experience, facing the world he had hidden from for so long. He took a cautious step forward, guided by Leora's calm presence. The villagers gasped softly, expecting something terrifying. But when they saw Beeston's gentle eyes and the way he held himself with careful kindness, their fear began to melt. Even Mr. Whiskers purred approvingly, flicking his tail. "Look at that. Miracles can happen when hearts open." Over the following days, Leora and Beeston embarked on many small adventures within the castle and its gardens. They discovered hidden rooms filled with twinkling crystals, secret passages lined with glowing moss, and tiny creatures who had been afraid to show themselves. Each discovery was a gentle lesson, that patience, understanding, and kindness could reveal magic in even the simplest corners of the world. One afternoon, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky in shades of pink and orange, Beeston and Leora sat together by a shimmering pond. The water reflected not only the colors of the sky, but the glow of their friendship. Beeston spoke softly. "I used to think that no one could see who I truly am. That maybe I was destined to be alone forever. He paused, his voice catching slightly. But you see me, Leora. You see me for me. Leora reached out and placed a hand on his paw. Everyone deserves to be seen, she said gently. It's not about how you look or what others think. It's about who you are inside. Beeston's heart swelled with warmth. He realized that his true self, gentle, kind, sometimes clumsy, but always brave, was enough. More than enough. That evening, the castle shimmered with celebration. Fairy glimmers spun in joyful circles, leaving trails of sparkling light. The villagers had joined them, bringing small gifts of flowers, fruits, and laughter. It was a festival of acceptance, courage, and the magic of friendship. Beeston, for the first time, felt a deep sense of belonging. Leora watched him with a smile, proud of the gentle creature who had found courage not just in adventure, but in opening his heart. Even the smallest moments carried magic. A flower bent to brush against Beeston's paw, a book floated down to rest near Leora, and a soft breeze carried the laughter of everyone gathered in the garden. Each moment was a reminder that love and friendship could transform hearts, even those that had long been hidden away in fear. As night fell, Leora and Beeston sat together under the twinkling stars. Fairy glimmers swirled above, casting tiny glimmers of light like distant galaxies. I think this is the start of many adventures, Leora whispered. Beeston nodded, his eyes reflecting the soft starlight. With courage, kindness, and friends by your side, anything is possible, he said. The castle, once a place of mystery and loneliness, now echoed with laughter, joy, and the gentle hum of magic. Beeston had learned that true strength came from being open and kind, while Leora understood that courage often took the form of small, gentle actions rather than grand gestures. Together they had transformed not just the castle, but their hearts and the hearts of everyone around them. The villagers no longer feared the forest or the castle. They came to visit often, bringing stories, songs, and smiles. Leora's sketches of the magical gardens, the glowing flowers, and Beeston's gentle antics were shared with everyone, spreading wonder and joy throughout the kingdom, even in quiet moments. When the fairies slept and the moonlight bathed the castle in soft silver, the magic lingered. Beeston and Leora would sit side by side, sharing stories, dreams, and quiet laughter. Each day held a new adventure, a new lesson, and a reminder that love, courage, and kindness were the most powerful magic of all. And so, the enchanted castle on the misty hill became a place of warmth, friendship, and endless wonder, a home not just for Beeston and Leora, but for anyone willing to believe in the magic of understanding, the bravery of a kind heart, and the beauty that lies within. The story of Leora and Beeston spread quietly, like a gentle breeze through the kingdom, reminding everyone that even the most unlikely friendships could blossom. That courage could be gentle, and that magic lived not just in sparkling flowers or fairies, but in the hearts of those who dared to love, trust, and believe.